17th meeting of the Newmarket Municipal Budget Committee. My name is Terry Littlefield. I'm the town clerk, the host of the meeting for the evening, up to the point of election of the chair and the vice chair, who will then take over. We'll begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
and to
to
the
the republic
for which it
stands
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty.
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So because we are meeting remotely, please allow me to take a minute to read the notice of remote meeting. I ask anyone who's not speaking to please mute themselves, which I think everyone almost is. So notice for remote meetings. Due to the COVID-19 coronavirus crisis and in accordance with Governor Sununu's Emergency Order Number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-4, this board is authorized to meet electronically. Please note, there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously through the meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the Governor's Emergency Order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, this is to confirm that we are providing access to the meeting by telephone with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. We are utilizing the Zoom platform for this electronic meeting, and all members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through Zoom platform. And the public has access to listen, and if necessary, participate in this meeting through dialing area code 301-715-8592, and the meeting ID is 926-371-29750. Providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting via Zoom instructions provided on the Town of Newmarket website at www.newmarketnh.gov. There are provisions made to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. Please call 603-292-1221. We will adjourn the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event this happens, the meeting will be rescheduled. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. So begin the meeting with roll call attendance as normal. So when I call your name, please confirm that you are here and that you are alone, or if there is someone else in the room with you. So Mr. Wagode.
Here and alone.
Mr. Lesavoy.
I am here, it's just me.
Mr. LaMattina.
Present and alone.
Mr. Katie.
Present and alone.
Mr. LaBranch.
Present and alone.
Mr. Wolf.
Present and alone.
Mr. Swanson.
Here and alone.
Councilor Dumont.
Present and alone.
So the next item on the agenda is going to be the introduction of the new elected members of the board, which Joe has kindly agreed to do this evening.
Okay, so we have two new members present tonight, actually, and potentially a third. So we'll start with Chris Wolf. Chris, you want to just kind of briefly introduce yourself and take it from there?
Yes, hi, I've been a resident of Newmarket and, for about 5 years now, 2016. And prior to being in Newmarket, I was dairy for 36 years. While in dairy, I served on a number of committees, from starting the downtown Main Street program to school district moderator for 12 years and a number of other positions in the town government. So this is my opportunity to get started in Newmarket.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Rich Lavoy, is that pronounced?
Good evening. Hi, my name's Rich Lesavoy. I've been a resident of Newmarket since 2017. Prior to that, I spent 10 years in Merrimack, Massachusetts, right over the border. So in Merrimack, I was a member of the Finance Committee. So in that town, that's not an elected position, it's an appointed position, but I think it's pretty similar. I was committee for 8 years. I chaired it for 2. A little bit smaller community, about 7,000 people. I'm actually comparing the budget today, and a lot of similarities. I also ran for and was elected to the planning board, but I didn't really serve for very long because I moved. The other thing I was involved with was a public safety building committee. For a number of different years, I was on that committee and I was a spokesperson for that committee. Ended up the town built a new police station that's there now as a result of that. So that was my experience. So I've been anxious to try to contribute here in Newmarket and happy to be involved.
Yeah, very good. We also have, they're not really new. Barry Swanson is the school board rep and Zach Dumont is the town council representative.
Right. Thanks, Joe.
Okay.
All right. So at this time in the meeting, we're going to hold the election of the chair and vice chair for the 2021-2022 budget year. So I'm going to open the floor for nominations for chair.
I'd like to nominate Joe Lamatina for chair.
I'll second that. Second.
All right. Are there any other nominations? First of all, Joe, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do.
You do.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm honored, guys.
All right. So are there any other nominations? All right. So hearing no other nominations, I'm going to call the roll. Mr. Bagode,
Yes.
Mr. Lesavoy,
Yes.
Mr. Lamatina,
Yes.
Mr. Katie,
Yes.
Mr. LaBranch,
Yes.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Swanson,
Aye.
Counselor Dumont.
Aye.
All right. Congratulations, Mr. Lamatina.
Thank you all.
So we'll move on to the election of the vice chair. So again, I'm going to open up the floor for nominations for vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Mike LaBranch as vice chair.
Second.
Mike, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair? All right, hearing no other nominations, I'll call the roll. So Mr. Bagode,
Aye.
Mr. Lesavoy,
Yes.
Mr. Lamatina,
Yes.
Mr. Katie,
Yes.
Mr. LaBranch,
Yes.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Swanson,
Aye.
Counselor Dumont.
Aye.
All right, congratulations, Mike.
Thanks.
And at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to, back over to Joe. So you can
Just out of-
continue.
Okay, just how, am I also, will I be able to share my screen? You have to make me a host or anything?
You should be Tim. Tim is the host of the meeting,
Okay,
so he should be.
all right, so as long as Tim's on, then we don't. Right here. Okay, okay, good. All right, so next on the agenda is we have the Capital Improvement Committee. We need a representative and an alternate. And I would like to nominate Roger. He served as the alternate last year.
Second
Roger,
that.
would you like to do that?
I accept.
Did we have a second from Gary?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else like to be the representative of the Capital Improvement Program? Okay. Hearing none, let's take the vote. Eric,
Aye.
Rich,
Yes.
Roger,
Aye.
Mike LaBranch,
Aye.
Chris,
Yes.
Gary,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. We also need an alternate for the Capital Improvement Program, and I'm open to anybody who wants to do that. It's a really good opportunity to meet all the department heads and get a good idea where, or get an understanding of what's coming down the line. Do we have any nominations?
Joe, quick question.
Yep.
When are these meetings usually held?
They pretty much they wrap up by October. It's really kind of up to Diane. She kind of leads the group there.
Last year, Joe, we didn't start till September.
I think it's a little late, but I think usually it's August, September. Just a few meetings, so
And are they daytime meetings or evening meetings?
evening.
They're pretty much evening meetings, yeah.
If nobody else wants it, I'd take the alternate position.
Okay. So I'll make a nomination, nominate Mike LaBranch as the alternate to the capital improvement program.
Also
Second.
Oh, go ahead, Zach. Whatever.
Yes, I will second.
Okay. We'll go through the roll. Eric,
Aye.
Rich,
Yes.
Roger,
Aye.
Mike LaBranch,
Yes,
Chris,
Yes.
Gary,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Cool. It's actually a pretty good deal. Yeah. Okay. All right. We have another person who has expressed interest in joining the budget committee. We have technically 3 openings. Mike Matazzi, he's been a longtime resident of Newmarket. He expressed interest in joining. So Mike, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? And you're on mute, Mike. Okay, there you go.
Good evening, Mike Matazzi. I live on Shanda Drive. I've been here 29 years in June. Both of my kids graduated from Newmarket High School. I'm new to town government. I have not served in town government before. I've had the pleasure of being the president of the Shanda Drive Community Association for the past roughly 20 years. I'm retired. I'm a widower, and I'm just very interested in the finances of the town and where the money's spent and how it's spent. So I was approached that there was an opening. I thought long and hard about it, and I said, sure, I'd be happy to jump in.
I think you'll find it a pretty good experience. You get to meet, hear what's going on in the town. You get to see where your tax dollars are going. Pretty much all the money, property taxes, it stays right in the town. So it's a good thing. So, any questions for Mike? Anyone? Okay. With that, I'll
Joe?
Yep.
Not necessarily a question, but I just so we're clear, this is basically for a 1-year term, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and if no one does have questions, I'd like to nominate Mike Matazzi for the 1-year term on the budget committee.
And
Second
I'll
that.
second. Okay.
Second.
All right. We have a second. So we'll take a vote on that. Eric,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Roger,
Aye.
Mike LaBranch,
Aye,
Chris,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. So just to point, Mike, you can't really vote on anything tonight. You'll have to go, we'll send a note over to the to Terry and the and Steve Fournier. You'll have to go down, get sworn in. You may have to fill something out. But, okay. So you'll be able to vote at the next meeting.
It's
Like pledging my fraternity, I guess, huh?
Mhm. Okay. All right, well, welcome aboard. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is Budget Committee roles and responsibilities. I thought this would be helpful for the new people, just to, I'm not going to go over every single rule, every single responsibility. Just go over some of the highlights. I have a little thing I'll share on my screen. I also got a PDF of the document that has all the budget committee kind of like rules and regulations. I sent that, a copy of that to everybody, the new members. So I'd like to share my screen and hopefully, boom. Oh, this is cool. Okay. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Assume you can?
Yes.
All right, yeah, speak up, guys, if anybody has anything they want to add or say to this, but basically, the budget committee is elected by the voters to review the proposed budgets that are presented by the towns and the school and to recommend a budget to the voters, okay? So what goes before the voters for is actually the budget committee's budget. For the new people, the budget committee can't add or remove individual line items from a proposed budget. All we can do is basically approve the bottom line or recommend a bottom line money amount. We can make suggestions to the town and the school if we were to propose a lower amount where they should cut the money, but we can't force them to do that. Okay. And like I said, the budget that is presented to the voters is actually the budget committee's budget. And it's ultimately the voters that approve of the budget. The budget committee has the authority to review on an ongoing basis expenditures, but we can't control those expenditures. Okay, again, we can review them and make suggestions, but we can't control those expenditures. The budget committee does have the authority to request information from the various departments, but it really has to be reasonable what we're requesting. And technically, we cannot compel any town official to attend meetings. Okay, but Newmarket's a small town. We have a good, Steve Fournier, the town side and the school side has always been pretty good to us and willing to meet and when we ask them to. If a member misses 4 consecutive scheduled meetings, I thought it was 3, but in the rule book, it actually says 4. If a member misses 4 consecutive meetings without, a reason or excuse to be, to allow it to be missing, they are basically, they cease becoming a member of the budget committee. And feel free to add to this comment, guys, anybody. The budget committee being a public body, we are subject to right to know laws. So all meetings that we have are technically public meetings, even small group meetings, a couple of people get together. Technically that can be construed as a meeting and it's subject to right to know laws. Emails that go between committee members are potentially subject to right to know laws. There's a whole bunch of other things, but these are kind of like the major points that I wanted to make to the new people. But like I say, basically, we can't cut line items. We can just recommend a bottom line amount. Questions, comments?
Joe, I might add a couple of things to this. This is the only organization board within the town that crosses the school-town line. We have the same responsibilities to the school district as we do to the town. We review both budgets independently. And again, we can make a recommended change only to the bottom of the school budget as we can on the town budget. But it is a place where you're able to see the operations of both the school and the town. And it's basically one of the only places that happens in Newmarket. Secondly, I wanted to just amplify the issue of right to know. I can send an email to a fellow member of the board individually, but if I send it to more than one or to the entire board, it becomes a public document. If we try to have any meeting that is outside of the scope of the meeting times that we meet, that would be construed to be a public meeting, and public meetings must be advertised in advance. So therefore, we just can't together as an ad hoc group, you know, let's a beer and talk about what, you know, some hot button or something. You can't do that. Cannot discuss board budget issues under those conditions.
Yep. Thank you. Very, yep. Good point.
Actually, I just have one other thing to add too. I mean, I don't want the new people to have the impression that we're just a rubber stamp. I mean, we can ask questions in terms of rationale, ask for alternatives. I mean, there's a process that's involved here. We don't just sit there and listen to people tell us how much money they're going to spend. I just wanted to reiterate that point. Thank you, Joe.
Yep. Thank you.
Joe?
So,
I might also suggest that once we have a finalized list of new members, when I came on board, there were 3 of us that were new. We got together, we said at our first meeting, we ought to get to know the people who are running our town. And so the 3 of us then made appointments together. I mean, you know, one appointment for all 3 of us to sit down with the fire chief, the police chief, public works, and so forth, in order to acquaint ourselves with them as individuals and give them a chance to explain in a lot more detail what they do and where their budget issues are and so forth. And it was a very good introduction to the town and to the operations of the town and the people that are running our town. And they're super people. And I strongly suggest that someone, you know, of the newbies, you know, organize that for the rest of the new people to participate in that.
That's a good point, and I can kind of coordinate that. But what we have 2 more positions technically that are open. I did get an email today from Ned Carpenter, who's interested. So I asked him to write up just a quickie note, send it to me, and then I would put, you know, we'll put him on the agenda at our next meeting. And hopefully by the time of our next meeting, we'll have that 3rd position filled. If it's okay, what I'll do is I'll ask Steve if we can, once we have everybody on board, ask Steve Fournier if he can make arrangements for people to, the new people to meet the various department heads. It's a pretty good opportunity to see the water system here that we have, the public works group there. Sean did an excellent job of showing us, you know, the water system there and the storage system. It's pretty impressive.
hey, Joe, I just have a couple questions.
Yep.
So if I understand it, then during the budget process, departments present to us their budget?
Yes, at one point we will, shortly I'm going to go over the calendar and I'll explain that, but yes, there will be a point where we have kind of like a working session with the town manager and the various department heads. The various department heads will come in and explain the reasoning for their request for their budgets. And same thing on the school side.
Okay. And then if I understand it, we cannot make a recommendation for a particular line item in that budget. Like for public safety, we can't recommend something different than what's proposed. We can only do the very bottom line of everything.
That's correct, right? We can't change, you can't modify a line item. You can modify the bottom line or request to change the bottom line. You can make a suggestion of where they could change that.
Joe, if I can step in here, if I remember correctly, the budget committee is allowed to modify the bottom line up to 10% of the budget that's been presented either by the town or by the school board. The town council has a day-long open budget workshop when the department heads come in and speak to the budgets that they had presented, and the town manager goes over his before the town council finalize and recommends theirs. If there are items that are popping up that you'd like to see changed, or you wish to lobby for certain, things to be included, certainly attend those public meetings. It is very important to get the input as soon as we can, so that way we have enough time to vet the input and decide if we want to include it. So the biggest thing to remember about the budget process is, while we have an important role at the budget committee, giving a final thumbs up or thumbs down, there is a whole bunch of work that happens before that vote that we can really make good, strong impacts. Whether that's meeting with the department heads, meeting with the town managers, meeting with the school board, there is a lot that happens before it comes to the budget committee, so you can still be involved along the way.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any other comments on that? Another document I'd like to share with the group here is the items for the agenda. Okay, there's kind of like two pieces to this. One is for the agenda itself, have things you would like to add to the agenda, would like to get them onto the agenda at least 2 business days prior to us publishing the agenda. Usually, we'll publish the agenda the week before, sometime during the week before our meeting. Our meetings are on Mondays generally. We did make a rule last year that said basically we want agenda items at least 2 business days prior to the meeting, unless approved by the actual by the budget committee chair. The reason you say this for the budget committee chair is occasionally something comes up at the last minute and we want to get it on the agenda for the group to discuss. Okay. The other item that we have is the actual documents so that we're going to review. We want the documents that are going to be reviewed, say like with the school or the town gives us their budget expenditures for the month or whatever. The intent is for us to get that at least 2 business days prior to the meeting. And we do have an exception in there where if the whole budget committee, the majority of the budget committee says, yes, we get a document less than 2 days before the meeting, the budget committee members can vote and say, yeah, we will take a look at that tonight. Or we can turn it down and say, no, we'll put that off until the next meeting. Okay.
Actually, Joe, would it be possible, or is it a good idea to send a reminder to the town and school about that 2-day thing?
Yeah, my intent is to, before, a couple of days before our meeting, or sort of like a week before our meeting, whatever, to remind them. But yes, we can send them this and say, hey, these are our rules, what we've decided. I think we have shared it with them before, but I'll definitely share it again, at least on the first time that I make a request for them.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, the next item is a calendar. I do have a preliminary calendar. I will send it to everybody tonight. I didn't want to send it out earlier because I technically wasn't the chairman. I didn't want to kind of like overstep my bounds here, but okay. I'll send this to everybody. Basically, we meet monthly, the last Monday of the month. A couple of the key things are roughly the middle of November. The budget is from the town and the school are due to us. It says in the book that it's due to us on November 15th, or if for some reason or other they request a different date, the budget committee can say, yeah, we'll give you till Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever. But the budgets are due to us by November 15th. That's one of the key dates. The dates in red, like I say up here, are subject to change. I'll explain that a little bit more when we get down here to the actual sessions. So,
Joe?
Yep.
Joe, I don't think you're sharing the schedule. At least I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I'm not either.
You can't see it?
Correct.
Oh.
Your memo is still up.
Yeah.
Really?
If it's a different program, you got to close this and open that one. Share that.
Let me. close that and close that. Screen sharing is stopped and Windows is closed. All right, share my screen. Okay, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right. So I like to say, I do have a calendar, a tentative calendar of our meetings. The dates in red you'll see are tentative, that the subject to change. I'll explain that. Part of it is that the town actually sets when we have the deliberative session, and a number of the dates are dependent upon, backing up from the deliberative session and the town vote. But basically, the town budgets are due from the town and the school are due to us November 15th. Okay. The beginning of end of November, beginning of December, we have a work sessions where we meet with the town manager and the department heads or in the school department and the administration there to go over their budgets. Okay. So that happens roughly the end of November, beginning of December. Early January is when we have our public hearing, and that has to be 25 days prior to the deliberative session. Okay, so again, the deliberative session is actually set by the town. They do that sometime late November, early December, I believe. Okay. So the public hearing is early January. We have some alternate dates in here for in case there's snow days or something happens. The deliberative session with session number 1 is scheduled for early February. It has to be between the 2nd and 3rd Saturdays, I believe, of after the last Monday in January. That's the way the rules go. And again, those dates are set by the town, so that impacts the dates up here. And then the voting is actually the second Tuesday in March. Again, I'll send this to everybody. I'm assuming we're going to do Zoom that come October that we'll actually be able to meet in public.
Oh, wow.
We shall see how that goes. That's my hope.
Great.
Questions, comments? Okay.
Mike, you're muted. Mike L.
Yeah, Joe, just curious, is there any possibility that we can meet in person prior to October?
I would hope so or think so, but
If I may,
Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
at this point in time, the Newmarket mask ordinance is still in effect, as well as, our social distancing. The problem that we have as a budget committee is we are just too large to actually fit in a room. Until we get to a point where those restrictions can be dropped and there's no longer a significant health hazard, I have no doubt in my mind that the town safety committees, town manager, police, fire, would be more than willing to find us a space to meet in person again. But it is dependent upon the guidance from the federal government, from the state government, and our own local ordinances as well.
But Zach, can't we meet in the town hall auditorium provided we don't have, with the assumption there's no attendance of the public?
That was a question that was raised before, and I believe Steve's argument was technically the public could show up at any point during that meeting. And since we can't safely have everybody show up in person, you can't do it.
You could argue that for our meetings too.
I totally understand.
one of the things that I was told is on the school side here, they're now cleaning out the cafeteria area because where they were storing all that, all the equipment and whatever. Now that they're going back to 5 days, that area may become available in the not too distant future. Maybe Gary might know something about that.
Yeah, I can ask about that, Joe, at our next meeting. It's just so much more conducive to the flow of a meeting to have it in person. So I'll ask.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, but I'm kind of assuming, okay, shit, by October we better be done with this.
Hope so.
But yes, I absolutely agree that meeting in person is so much better than these Zoom meetings. And my preference would be to do that. Okay. And I did have like some of the meetings in the elementary school gym, but, and I put the town hall here. Again, this is all tentative. Questions, comments? Okay, all right. I promise to send that to everybody tonight. Okay. Next thing I have is the approval of the minutes from March 29. First of all, I guess, do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting for March 29th, 2021.
Second,
You have a second? Who's that?
second.
Okay, Roger. Okay. Questions, comments, discussions? Anybody have any edit changes to the meeting minutes?
Just a point of order for the new members, we will vote to abstain.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna. Okay, hearing no edit changes or corrections or whatever, we'll take a vote on approval of the minutes. Eric?
Aye.
Okay. Rich, you have to abstain.
I abstain.
Okay. Roger?
Aye.
Mike, you can't vote. Mike LaBranch?
Aye.
Okay. Chris, you can't, you have to abstain.
Yeah, abstention.
Okay. Gary,
I abstain.
you weren't on? Who was on? Oh, that was Mike. That's right. Mike was the, okay. Zach?
Aye.
Okay, and the chair votes aye. Okay, minutes are approved. All right. Next up. Okay, so we had a request to review the school budget. Let me see if, I mean, the school audit. Any questions, comments on the school audit?
I was thinking the beginning of the school audit speaks to the findings, the audit findings.
Mhm.
I was thinking that perhaps in a future meeting, we could have the business administrator come and she must have done this already with the school board, and just sort of talk about what remedies they're doing for some of these findings. Not that they were significant, but I think as a budget committee, we're obligated, and it's our responsibility to sort of inquire what the remedies are.
Okay. If anybody has any specific questions too that you want to pass along, you know, can send them to me. I will forward them to the school. And yes, we will ask that at the next meeting if the business administrator or can talk about the audit and what steps they're taking, her or the superintendent. There is a question that I would have, I don't think we ever discussed it, is the food service negative balance. I guess my question would be, is it significant? I'm not, you know, not sure what significant is. I would guess
It was
over
about
$5,000.
$8,000 or something like that.
Over a
Yeah.
couple,
Joe, I'm gonna probably misspeak on this, but it basically it's had to do with the way they were doing the accounting, is my understanding.
yes.
Certainly it'd be good to have Janet come in and clarify that.
Okay. I would like to go on the record though as saying, I have no problem my tax dollars going to paying off any student balance. I didn't like the idea of this bring uncollected balances to civil court. That's not Newmarket.
Yeah, and I think that paragraph isn't exactly accurate based on the information we're given from Janet, but again, she should be the one to
Yeah.
kind of address that formally.
I would hope that's something that's handled privately, so that
Oh.
it doesn't become public knowledge in terms of people can skip out on their debts.
No.
Certainly some who who can't pay and they need to eat.
This also reiterate our roles and responsibilities. Our roles are strictly on the financial side. We don't set policy or make policy or tell the school department or the town what their policies should be. That's the school board and the town council's jobs. But that was my personal opinion that, yeah.
Joe, I might add for clarification, particularly for our newer members. This is the report for the year ending June 2020. The business administrator for the school did not join until July of 2020. And so, although she is responsible for addressing these issues, they did not happen under her administration. And so I just wanted to make sure that everybody's aware that the person that will be answering is not the one that was responsible for the time period that's reported here. I would also like to suggest that you look for a little more information on some of these items on pages, I believe it's 59 and 60 of the audit report, with a little more detail about some of the issues that the auditor found. But I would like to have Jana discuss with us what is being done to remedy to this and to make sure that this audit is a lot cleaner for 2021.
Yeah, I'll just say, I mean, I read through it. I didn't read, I'll certainly admit I don't understand everything in it. And I didn't read every single line, but I didn't see anything in there that I thought was very bad. Okay, so.
I believe, if I recall correctly, procedures have been put into place, I think, to address every single item, or certainly the majority of the items of the minor deficiencies that were found. So, but again, we'll have I'll let Jana speak to that.
Yeah, it's probably one of the first things she did when she came in.
Well, the report didn't come out until a
Situation.
bit later. Although it's
Yeah.
for the 2020 year, the report didn't come out until, I want to say, November or something. I'm not sure the exact date. Quite a bit later.
All right, so if anybody has any questions that they want to pass on to the schools, can you send them to me? And next week, or maybe the week after, I will draft a note to the school asking to meet at our next meeting, which would be in May, to have them there to discuss both the financials up to that point in time, as well as to talk about the audit. Okay, and if we have any specific questions we want them to answer, let me know. I'll include that in the note. Okay. Okay. So at this point, any other business anybody like to bring up? Mike?
Yes, just curious if we basically have gone the last two meetings without receiving any type of financials from the town or the school, I believe. Is it possible that we could get at least the most recent bunch of information that they have, so we can digest it over the next couple of weeks, so that when we meet again in May, that we're a little more up to speed with it, because we're actually in the last quarter of the year, so.
Yeah, on the calendar, one of the things I do have is to go, I think obviously in July, we go over their final year ends, but yes, I'll ask them for the current latest month and pass that on to everybody. And for our May meeting, we should have, again, even the latest April data.
Right, yeah. Okay, thank you, Joe.
I'll ask for both of them. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Any other business?
Joe, if you have a second, I would just like to reach out and say a couple things. First, I wanted to welcome the new members who are joining us tonight. This is going to be my 4th year on the budget committee, and it really is informative and impactful. One of the things that I do recommend, however, just as a common courtesy, when you are reaching out to department heads, when you're reaching out to school board, school department heads, always make sure you loop in the most senior contact. So if you're reaching out to Sean Gregg at the water department, just CC, Steve Fournier on emails. You'll find that the town and school do like to be forthcoming and transparent with information, but it does help to loop in, the person in charge basically of that business unit. But I will say from a town perspective, don't be afraid to ask questions. Certainly come to any of the budget meetings that the town holds, any of the department heads presenting to us, the town manager presenting to us. We have a good year ahead of us and a lot of great work to do, especially coming out of a pandemic. So I just want to say thanks again for everybody stepping up and coming here for another year.
Yeah, I join in thanking the new members for volunteering. I think it's worth a lot. It's really good. And in particular, Chris, I love the shot of the Newmarket Lighthouse.
Well, thanks for the
Yeah, I'll just say, I mean, if anybody has questions for the department heads, or if you could send it to me, and I will send it to Steve and CC everybody, and have Steve be the contact, say, for the department heads on the town side. And again, also, if you have a question for the school, send it to me. I'll CC everybody, but send it to the superintendent and Jana, the business administrator person. Okay. Any other business? Okay. With that, would somebody like to make a motion to
Motion to
adjourn?
adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Vote. Okay, it was unanimous. All right. Thank you all. I'll send you the calendar and some other notes, and we'll see you in May. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you guys for voting for me. I appreciate it.